A college student caught biting a victim's face after stabbing the man and his wife in a random attack dared deputies to test him for drugs.
What went through your mind the moment you saw your house?
I couldn't even drive. I had to stop at the bottom of the bridge because it's my everything. What are we gonna do? I have nowhere to go.
We are the Tribulation Saints.
Clayton wildfire in the Lower Lake area in Lake County quickly spreading, destroying homes and businesses while leaving the skies filled with dark smoke. See all the damage from the ground. And now we want to give you a look from the air. The flames and smoke covering entire neighborhoods. This new fire danger comes after a number of devastating fires in the same region this time last year.
The Clayton fire has burned more than 3,000 acres in the past 24 hours. About 4,000 people have evacuated.
This fire is still under control, and take a look behind me. This is what we are seeing all across this community. A home burning to the ground and firefighters doing their best to keep the flames from spreading. As flames continue to consume buildings and homes in the town of Lower Lake, some families are beginning to get their first look at the devastation.
What went through your mind the moment you saw your house?
I couldn't even drive. I had to stop at the bottom of the bridge because it's my everything.
Officials say the fire jumped the containment lines in the early afternoon and then began spreading in several directions at once. Main Street, Lower Lake, and the surrounding neighborhoods quickly became ground zero.
What are we gonna do? I have nowhere to go.
Repent before it's too late. For I am a consuming fire. We are the Tribulation Saints.
At first glance, Rachel Knutson and Lisa Rudquist look like they could be hairstylists. The boys sitting in their chairs wish it were that simple. They're not getting back to school haircuts here at Ladybugs. Instead, Rachel and Lisa are taking care of their head lice infestation.
When school lets out and they start a new sport or they go to a camp, we see an uptick in our business.
Yes, they're in the business of head lice removal.
It's all over.
Which is good news for Maple Grove mother Dee Dee Long.
We were notified this morning. My girls came home from camp on Sunday, and we found out that her bunkmate had lice this morning.
The little bugs are not easy to spot.
You can see those are the adults. This one right here is a little bit smaller, so that is a nymph, so that's like an adolescent bug. And then these teeny tiny little specks that you see in there are the nits.
It's a problem most commonly found in children between the ages of 3 to 11, but they're seeing it more now among older kids as well.
Just because the teenagers and the tweens, they like to take a lot of selfies and they put their heads together, they're having sleepovers and activities and sporting events.
Lice are certainly no fun, but a recent study found that Minnesota is one of 42 states that have so-called super lice.
A combination of high temperatures and erratic winds, what officials call extreme fire behavior, drove the flames quickly through downtown Lower Lake.
We're seeing everything unfortunately burn right now. Grass, vegetation, structures, homes, cars. We're experiencing propane tank explosions. So we're throwing everything we have at it.
Officials don't quite have a hold on how many structures in Lower Lake have been burned, but it's many, they say. It's the last thing Lake County needs. More heartbreak from lightning-fast wildfire.
Extreme heat combined with thick smoke from wildfires and air pollution from millions of cars is making the air in some places dangerous to breathe. Here's Mireya Villarreal.
Back in the 80s, thick hazy smog was as much a part of the Los Angeles skyline as the Hollywood sign. Today, while LA County's air quality has improved, health officials say pollution kills 1,300 people a year, making it the deadliest air in the country. According to a new study, that number is more than triple the number of air pollution-related deaths in New York and twice the total in Texas.
We see that the annual number of excess deaths is quantitatively very similar to the number of deaths from alcohol-related traffic fatalities.
In California, heavy traffic, industrial commerce, lack of rain, and wildfires are all to blame.
Bad air and high levels of pollution become deadly to our society.
The continuing heat wave in Korea has raised the temperatures in rivers, encouraging the growth of algae and potentially contaminating a main source of drinking water. The nation's 4 major rivers are under an emergency alert, while fishermen on the coast can do little but watch as warmer sea waters kill off their stock.
The rivers are turning green due to blooms of algae caused by rising water temperatures amid the heat wave. Early this month, algae warnings were issued for 3 of the country's major waterways, the Nakdonggang, Keumgang, and Yeongsangang rivers, which Koreans rely on as a main source of drinking water. Local environmental authorities have taken emergency measures to ensure the safety of tap water. Algae not only causes tap water to smell and taste different, but can also release poisonous substances such as microcystin, which can cause liver problems. Water purification plants in the Nakdonggang River Basin have added equipment to filter out the blue-green algae and installed an extra layer of filtering to block finer impurities. It's not only drinking water. The warmer seas around the Korean peninsula are endangering business and major fisheries. The sea temperatures have risen to their highest in 26 years, killing millions of fish.
I can't express in words how devastated I am. The whole world is crashing down around me. The fish I had raised for so long are all dying.
This summer, the sea temperature has risen as high as 27 to 31 degrees, which is 5 degrees higher than normal. The reported losses are mounting. Nearly 2 million fish and shellfish, worth some 3 billion won or around $2.7 million, the worst damage in 3 years. On the ground, the heat hasn't spared farmers' livestock either.
A college student caught biting a victim's face after stabbing the man and his wife in a random attack dared deputies to test him for drugs. Martin County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Trisha Kukuva said in a statement that the killer has so far tested negative. 19-year-old Austin Haroof told deputies, "Test me, you won't find any drugs." Police arrived at the scene after they heard of an attack at the house where Haroof killed 59-year-old John Stevens and his 53-year-old wife, Michelle Mishkan. The deputies found Haroof tearing at Stevens' face with his teeth.
A dangerous walk home for 2 teenagers on Long Island. Police say the boys were traveling through a dark wooded area when they were slashed.
15-year-old Edwin Andrade was using this narrow dirt path as a shortcut between 2 residential streets in North Bellport. It was late Friday night, and his family says he knew better than to be in such a remote place by himself, so he had a 15-year-old friend with him. But before they made it out of the woods and onto Michigan Avenue, where Andrade lives, both boys were attacked by a suspect who had a blade. The teenagers slashed repeatedly all over their bodies. Neighbors are shocked by the burst of violence in an area they consider safe and quiet.
That makes my heart hurt because that's a kid. No kid deserves to be hurt like that.
9-year-old Ashdeep Kaur was found naked and bruised in the bathtub of her Richmond Hill apartment. We're told her stepmother, 55-year-old Shamdi Arzoon, was supposed to be watching her, but now that woman is charged with murder.
This morning, an insanity plea in the works for one of the girls accused of trying to kill a classmate, all to impress a fictional internet character called Slender Man.
And we would also, on behalf of Ms. Geiser, enter the not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect plea.
That plea being filed for Morgan Geiser more than 2 years after prosecutors say she and Anissa Wire, both just 12 years old at the time, lured their friend Peyton Leitner into the Wisconsin woods, allegedly stabbed her 19 times, and left her to die.
Is there any bleeding going on? Her clothing has got blood on it.
Leitner survived. The young suspects, now 14 years old, charged as adults with attempted first-degree murder, later sharing their bizarre explanation centered on the horror-themed online myth.
I was really scared, knowing that Slender could easily kill my whole family in 3 seconds.
The toll of the Blue Cod wildfire east of Los Angeles is already high. Nearly 100 homes have been destroyed. In the past there, nearly 200 other structures burned to the ground, part of an already tough wildfire season in California.
Iran has released the first images of its domestically produced missile defense system, Bavar 373. The system is designed to intercept long-range missiles, drones, and combat aircraft. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said in a televised speech on Sunday that the country's military budget had more than doubled compared to last year.
First, it was North Carolina, then it was Target. Now homeless shelters are the new front in the battle over transgender rights. TheHill.com reports that new proposed federal regulations would permit people to stay in homeless shelters based on their gender identity. In other words, if a man identifies as a woman, he would be allowed to stay at a women's shelter.
It's the afternoon and Hasina keeps peeping out of the window with fear and desperation. She's in need of life-saving medicine for her ailing husband, but the shutters are down, streets abandoned, and the air is filled with fear as paramilitary forces patrol the streets. Her husband is suffering from heart disease, but despite all efforts, she returns hopeless.
Since morning, I have been trying hard to find some medical shop, but all shops are closed. I had managed to stock up my husband's medicine for a month, but now it's over. It's been 45 days. We are caged like animals. I have no idea what to do. Where can I get the medicine?
Strange light in the skies above Southern California tonight.
Stan Monitz was photographing the moon in Laguna Beach tonight when the light streaked across his shot. Social media lit up with reports of sightings.
A major earthquake with a magnitude of 7.3 on the Richter scale was reported in the Atlantic Ocean to the southeast of Argentina on Friday. According to an observatory in Germany, it occurred about 1,500 miles east of southern tip of Argentina. The German Research Center for Geoscience said that the earthquake struck early on Friday and the epicenter was near the South Georgia island.
An earthquake measuring 5.8 on the Richter scale has struck just off the Queensland coast. Families from Cairns to Rockhampton felt the tremor that lasted for up to 30 seconds.
It's a national conversation, but at the university level, University of Iowa is going to be taking a lead.
More than 40 volunteers working throughout the spring, reviewing hundreds of bathrooms on campus, taking note of number of stalls and signs outside. They found 147 existing restrooms have just one stall inside.
But they just don't have consistent signage that says this is gender neutral restroom. All of them are single-use restrooms, and we're just going to be saying this is a gender-neutral restroom. You can use it.
Here is a look at the new signs they're working to put up.
Anyone can use this regardless of gender identity or expression.
I'm told the new restrooms could be a draw for future transgender students wanting to come to the University of Iowa.
When I considered where I was going to go to college, that was definitely something I considered, was how trans-friendly is University of Iowa. And so I think that makes a big difference when students are considering where to go to college.
These single-user gender-inclusive restrooms really make our campus and help our campus be inclusive and safe and supportive to all of our community, as well as those who identify as trans or non-binary.
2:30 p.m. and a normal day at work in Mackay gets a shake-up. The magnitude 5.8 earthquake strong enough to send goods flying from the shelves at this IGA in Townsville. The quake, the largest in the state in 20 years, struck 70 kilometres off the coast of Bowen, but tremors were felt from a far north as Cairns down to Rockhampton. It sent people running from hotels, offices and pubs.
I was sitting on the lounge with my son and it just shook and shook, heaps of times. It was awful, horrible.
I was just doing some cleaning and all the glasses started shaking on top of the coffee machine.
On Hayman Island, guests were evacuated to the tennis courts. More fun than drama. Mackay Mayor Greg Williamson was mid-interview when the quake struck. Listen to the building rumble in the background.
What we're doing with the first principles.
By 5 p.m, there had been 6 aftershocks, one of them caught on camera on Hamilton Island.
Bombs exploded across southern Thailand in rapid succession, causing widespread fear and confusion.